Do y'all want to buy a used BMW just like this one without getting ripped off? Well then listen up. What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. First things first, if you're not subscribed, go and smash the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can stay in the loop on all the videos to come. So as you guys can see, I have this 2009 BMW 328i. This is the E90, so it's a 4-door. It is also the facelifted LCI model, and we actually just bought this for my father. So today's video, I'm going to be showing y'all my exact process and basically how I walk through a car and make sure that I'm not going to get ripped off. And I'll show y'all all of the little things along the way to help y'all save your money and make sure that you buy the right car. Let's go ahead and get right into the video. We'll go ahead and show you around this E90 and what to look for on all of these BMWs. And guys, I'm gonna shoot this entire video basing it off of the exact process I would do as if I was walking up to someone I've never met before and buying the car. So I'm gonna show y'all exactly what I would check for, when I would check for it, all in order. So yeah, let's go ahead and turn around and show you guys the E90. And so we bought this vehicle off of Facebook Marketplace, but we basically want to check it out for ourselves and find little key points that we can highlight to get the vehicle a little bit lower in price. Now you don't want to show up and blatantly lie to someone and lowball them. That's not what you want to do, but you do want to keep in mind on the vehicle what you're going to have to replace in the future and factor that in to the offer that you throw out to them. And so Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, all these different websites can be hidden gems to find some great vehicles, but there's also a lot of clunkers and a lot of people that are trying to get one over on you. So that is the negative. So you have to be an educated buyer basically when it comes down to it. And so using this video, even though it seems a little bit long right now, I promise you after watching this, you'll be able to pick up these things instantly with any car that you look at and basically tell what type of owner, has it and if the car is worth buying at all. But right off the bat, what you want to go ahead and do is line up the VIN number and check it on Carfax. Now the VIN number on the vehicle is in a few different spots, but right here under the windshield is the most obvious spot and easiest to find. By doing that, we can basically pull up the entire history of the vehicle and see basically what all has been done to it, what has been changed, what has been replaced, and what has not. And you want to do that before you even meet up. As soon as you text them, hey, I'm interested, get that information, check everything over. That way, when you show up, you have that information to go off of. So you want to do that before you even get there. But assuming, hey, now we're here, we showed up, we're going to go ahead and go from there. And I'm going to show you my exact process that basically I use to buy any used car. So let's go ahead and get into that now. And as you guys know, these are extremely bulletproof engines. The N52, I have a E92 coupe with the same engine. And so that's why we opted to get him this car. Basically overall, it's extremely reliable. The first thing I would do is I would get the key fob, right? So this is the exact process, and what I would do, I would test to see if the key fob works. So walking up to the car, the unlock button unlocks the car, the lock button locks the car, and the trunk button, walk around to the rear, the trunk button works because the trunk lifted. And now that's just something super small you can check when you're walking up to the car. So now we're here. So the first thing I would check is the exterior of the vehicle. And we're checking the overall condition of the paint. Of course, it's gonna have a few little dings, it's gonna have a few imperfections, but we're making sure it doesn't have any oxidation. Oxidation on these cars can be a huge telltale sign that the car sat or was mistreated by the previous owner. So if you see severe oxidation, it can only lead you to believe that the previous owner didn't take care of it or that the car sat for a long time. This is the most prone part to sun damage, will be the roof and the hood as well. The trunk area is pretty prone, but you can see there's no oxidation. We have a couple little nail dents, which is actually why this buyer sold it to us for a cheaper price. But overall, going around the whole car, the paint overall is extremely clean. It's gonna have a few imperfections and etc., like I said, but overall, we're not seeing any crazy oxidation on the vehicle's paint. While we're checking the exterior, we're gonna make sure that all of our little trim pieces and everything like that are on. We have our grills, nothing is missing. It's usually not a great sign if the grill is missing from the car. I feel like most owners who would care about the car in any type of way would replace little trim pieces if they broke or fell off. So make sure these are all on, all throughout the bottom, fog lights, grill, everything else. While we're doing our little exterior run around, we'll basically just make sure that the tires are all in not deteriorated to condition. You can actually see the brake pads, not on camera, but you can see the brake pads and see if the vehicle is gonna need new brakes. Sweet guys, so that moves us on to number 2. The second thing I would check while you're checking the overall condition of the paint is all of the body panels for dents or misalignment, because this can be proof that the car was in an accident or something has been replaced for some reason. And basically what I mean by this, guys, is you're gonna come along to all of the panels and they should all be even. You shouldn't see any crazy misalignment, like a huge gap here and a small gap here. So we're checking right here. That actually looks very flush, looks OEM. So we're checking all the panel lines to make sure everything matches up. We're checking the hood line to make sure it doesn't go big to small. It stays consistent the whole way through. And that is proof right there that the hood has not been tampered with, nothing's been replaced. Now, more importantly, we're following these body lines down the fender. These fenders get replaced often, guys, because they're plastic. These are not metal. Listen. Hear how that one sounds? These are plastic, so they're more prone to breaking, especially at the brackets. So we're checking these body lines, making sure going down and around the car, going to the door hasn't been replaced or anything crazy. And how you'll indicate that is, like I said, you see how this gap right here is even the whole way down? If something's been replaced or tampered with, it'll be big here and it'll start to get smaller, or maybe it'll be small and narrow and get wider. But this looks uniform the whole way down around the car. The rear quarter panel, checking all the body lines, and overall, everything's matching up. The trunk, everything's matching up. No dents, no dings, nothing crazy. And if there was, you can use that as a bargaining point, of course, to haggle down on the price even more. Because if you see, you have a little nick here on the front bumper and you're thinking about replacing it either way in the future, bring that up as a bargaining point. That way you can knock some dollars off the price. And the most critical parts here that you're gonna look for are the bumpers, because those are what bump into things. So you're gonna look at the front bumper, the rear bumper, walk around the car, and basically make sure there's no crazy damage. The rear bumper, usually people reverse into things pretty often, but we can see that it's all good on this one. I love how the LCI taillights look, so nice. All right, guys, so now we've done a quick surveillance of the outside of the vehicle. We just walked up to the car and met the owner, looked around the outside of the vehicle. Now what we're gonna go ahead and do is hop on the inside and check out the interior. And the interior on this one's actually in really good shape. But what you're looking for here are tears. You're looking for tears, cigarette smoke, the smell of cigarettes. You're looking for staining all across the headliner. But mainly what I would be concerned about, this was a car for me, would be tears in the leather, because then you have to replace these seats. No one likes having tears. And these ones are actually in pretty good condition. We're gonna come on here to the passenger side and basically make sure that everything's good here. We don't have any tears. We don't have anything missing here. The little cup holders work as they should. That's always a good sign, because these fail. Oh, yeah, there's the one. There's the one. Same exact thing for the rear seats, which we can see are all in really good condition, honestly. Cool, and now from here, what we're gonna go ahead and do is punch the key into the ignition. And what we're gonna be checking for now is that there's no lights on the dashboard. We're basically gonna do an overall run of the interior. We're gonna check that there's no lights on the dashboard, and we're gonna go ahead and plug in our code scanner and scan the whole car's systems to basically make sure there's no errors or fault code. And so I don't have my OBD2 scanner with me, but what you would do is plug it into here, scan the whole car's systems, and make sure there's absolutely no code. If you have an updated scanner, you can also check temperatures of the transmission and engine as well. I would highly, highly recommend that. And so I don't have my code scanner with me at the moment, but if I did, what I would do is plug it up and check all of the temperatures. I would check the coolant temperatures, the engine oil temperatures, the transmission temps, all of that stuff. And I would check that as I'm driving the car to ensure that there's nothing that's overheating. I don't have my scanner with me at the moment, I forgot it. But for purposes of this video, that is what you're gonna do next. You're gonna plug up a scanner and check the whole car system. Something that you wanna check for that you would think is common sense, but a lot of people kind of overlook sometimes, make sure the mileage matches up with the previous service records. So we actually came into this issue where a vehicle we wanted to purchase came across and said, hey, this might not be the actual mileage. It was not this vehicle, it was another one, but it said that possibly the odometer got rolled back. So you wanna make sure that the Carfax or whatever you use matches the mileage, make sure the mileage matches the owner says and the title. So make sure it all kind of goes together and makes sense. Also, you wanna make sure there's no tamper dot. If there's a tamper dot, and I believe it's somewhere, I believe it's right in between here. But if it shows a tamper dot, that means that the odometer has been rolled back. You do not want to purchase that car most likely. So now assuming everything's good there, we're gonna go ahead and pop our key into the ignition. And we're gonna go ahead and turn the electronics on and start the vehicle. but there's no lights on the dashboard. It's completely clean and clear. You don't have the little illuminated triangle showing that there's an error here. If there's some sort of error, no matter what, even if it's just a little bulb that's out, it's gonna show a little triangle right over here. What we can do is go through our systems menu by flicking this arrow up. Now it'll say check control. We'll go ahead and punch in the BC just like that. And you can see that we have a check okay. So that's showing that basically all the car systems are good to go. There's no errors. Now what we'll go ahead and do is go through that same menu and we'll check the oil level. And the car's not been running, so let it run and idle for about 10 to 15 minutes and the oil level will populate. But we're gonna make sure that this thing has not been running low on oil. So you wanna make sure that it populates here in the middle. And now this model is equipped with the iDrive unit. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do while I'm inside the car is basically make sure everything in here works, because whatever doesn't work is more money down the road. Let's go ahead and make sure our AC works. That's the most important thing. Recycle, cold, nice cold air. So we know the AC works. Now we'll do the opposite and we'll check the heat. Flick this little knobby over, let that sit for a little bit. Oh yeah, that is good heat coming out of there. That is hot. Sweet, so now we know all of this works. So we'll go ahead and put it back, bam, bam. We're gonna make sure all of our switches work. So obviously lock, unlock. We're gonna go ahead and turn the radio on. Make sure all the speakers work. We have heated seats equipped, so we're gonna fire those up, see if those actually do their thing. Overall, we're basically just making sure that everything on the interior works, all these features work, and so far they do. So now getting out of the car, the next thing I would check, since we're already on the interior portion, and everything's checked out, so let's assume that we have no codes, we've checked all of that, everything on the interior works, we're gonna check all of our lighting outside of the vehicle. So for this, go ahead and just pop your hazard lights on. And once you've popped your hazard lights on, we're basically just gonna do a run through of the outside and make sure all these different lighting components work. Sweet, so we're gonna flip our hazards on. Let's go ahead and pop our headlights and fog lights on. Sweet, so as you guys can see, side indicators work. Turn signals, headlights, angel eyes work, fog lights work. And we're just going through the outside of the vehicle, basically making sure all of these lights work, because whatever doesn't work, we can basically use it to haggle down the price. As you guys can see, tail lights are good. And on to the next side, everything works. And if you really want to, you can punch it in reverse. And if you have a second person, make sure your reverse lights work, but I don't have a second person, and I already saw mine work, so we're good to go. Sweet, so now that we know all of our lights and everything work, I like to pop the hood on the vehicle while the car is running, just so I can hear or see if anything's wrong while the vehicle's engine is actually in use. So let's go ahead and do that. Pop the hood. And overall, I'm basically seeing if I can smell anything weird, which right now I do not. I do not smell any weird smells whatsoever. If you can see it down there, check the drive belts. See if you can hear or see anything weird. I don't smell any weird smells, no oil. No oil again on the oil filter housing gasket or seeping here. The alternator actually looks in impeccable condition. All of these hoses look extremely good. I don't see any coolant bubbling over. The valve cover right here, I don't really see any oil going back. Obviously it looks like there's some debris and stuff on the metal, but I don't really see any oil seeping out in liquefied form, so that is good. So now what we're gonna do is check all of our fluids located within the vehicle. Now go ahead and pop off our oil cap, and we're basically popping this back to look inside the engine, see that we don't see any crusty like crud on here. Look at this. This is an extremely good sign that there's absolutely none on there, because it shows that there's no deposits or anything built up. We're not seeing any like white or brown like milkshake goo. That is a great sign. That means that the head gasket is not blown or anything like that. If it was, you would see like a milkshake goo, that'd be like a white or brown. So this is all in good shape. That is a really good thing. With this cover here that we can pop off, it's just a couple little push tabs here and here. We can pop this off and expose our brake fluid reservoir. And we can wiggle it around and see right here that there is brake fluid in there. I'm not gonna open it up because I already checked it, but we're basically gonna twist this off and check the condition. It should be a gold color, not like a dark brown. And now again, we can basically go ahead and check to see if we see any leakage or anything now that the vehicle is actually off. And there's no leakage on the power steering. And the coolant is extremely hot right now, so I'm not gonna open it up. But you wanna open this up and basically make sure there's no oil or anything mixed around in here, indicating a blown head gasket. Also make sure it has the official BMW blue coolant, not the green, because the green has to get flushed out. Make sure it has the official BMW blue coolant in here and it is at the right coolant level. As well, we can go ahead and pop open our power steering fluid reservoir and basically check the fluid condition. First thing, check the level, and we can see in there that it is full if I tap it around. But you wanna check the condition of the fluid because, you know, if it's deteriorated, it's something you wanna know sooner rather than later. But overall, the engine on this vehicle actually looks extremely good. I don't see any red flags at all. I don't smell anything, see anything, hear anything. So that is really good. We're checking these strut towers just to make sure everything's nice and tight. Nothing's been tampered with. Same thing here. We're also checking for rust the whole way through, checking to see if anything's heavily rusted. Especially on the engine, you wanna make sure there's no rust at all. So you're looking at the entire block of the vehicle, seeing if you see any leaking or any rust down in anywhere. And so far we do not. Like I said, we've already checked all of this over. I'm just showing you guys for reference right now. And then here as well, this is actually extremely overlooked, but important, is the headlights and the bumper. All of these screws and hardware should be OEM. If they are not, then obviously it tells you something's been removed or replaced. So we're making sure that the headlights are all OEMs, held in there nice and tight, which they are. So this has not been replaced. Same thing for the bumper bolts. You can see it has not been removed. And yeah, overall, extremely solid, extremely solid car. And now something we can check for really quick is check under the car for any leaks. And we're checking to see if you're finding any leaks at all, coolant, oil, etc. You may find like AC compressor, water, but you're making sure there's no coolant or oil or anything like that leaking out. So now I feel like I covered most of the things that I would check when buying one of these cars. So now the last thing to do is actually take it out for a test drive. You can't really check suspension just by looking at it. So what we're basically gonna have to do is hop in the car, take it out on a 10, 15, 20 minute test drive, and really get in the car and make sure it doesn't overheat. Check all your temperatures, plug your scan tool into the vehicle while you drive, and monitor all of those temperatures while you're driving. Check the suspension, listen for noises, turn the radio off, turn the AC off, turn it on, like mess around with different things, but really make sure you're having a keen eye and ear to the suspension and how the car is actually behaving, steering, and etc. And now something we want to be extremely cautious of and cognizant of is how the car starts up. And that was a perfect start on the vehicle. So that is a good sign. And now since we do have the iDrive unit, what we can actually go ahead and do is go to the vehicle info. And what the vehicle info does is we can check the vehicle status. So we can see our TPMS, all of them work. We have our engine oil level. The car hasn't been running long enough, so it's still measuring, but we can check service required and see that brake fluid, engine oil, all of these components have been serviced already, and there's nothing outstanding on the vehicle. You can see all systems okay. That's an absolutely perfect thing to see on these cars. So now taking it out for a drive, we really want to pay attention to how the transmission acts. So you want to put it in drive, put it in reverse, kind of shift through the gears and see how everything reacts. Cool, so we'll go ahead and punch it over into drive. And as we can see, no check engine lights or anything. So yeah, it's go time, let's go. And overall, this vehicle drives extremely smooth. I've already taken it out on the highway and etc. But we're basically just making sure that the suspension and all of these components are in good shape. Try to go over a few of these bumps to see if we can hear any chatter in the suspension. You really want to pay attention to how the car accelerates and responds. You want to pay attention to the suspension, how the power steering responds, and so far, very smooth. The rev bands are extremely linear, so that is a really good sign. No lights spontaneously came on the dash. We already checked all those over. Guys, taking it out, something you can check for right now is the alignment. A lot of times the alignment can be bad just from worn out tires, but it also can be indicative of suspension issues in the long run. So we're basically gonna check the alignment, let the wheel kind of center itself. And we can see the alignment's a tiny bit off, basically holding it in the middle position and the car is veering off a little bit to the right. Not a huge deal. Like I said, it could just be worn out tires or misworn tires. Yeah guys, the car overall drives very smooth, very nice. The suspension's good. I don't hear any chatter, any weird noises, feel any vibrations. I already took it on the highway, but I had to put my phone away because I can't be on the highway with my phone out and driving. That's probably one of the most important things. Take it out on the highway, That way you guys can go like 60 miles an hour and really feel if anything's wrong. Yeah, as you guys can see, we are here back with the E92. Go ahead and punch it back in park. Use our parking brake all the time. And yeah, guys, it passed the test drive. Extremely smooth car, extremely nice overall. Just wanted to show you guys what you want to look for in a test drive. During your test drive, you want to really take it out on the highway and go about 60 miles an hour, because that's where a lot of your vibrations and stuff will really come into play. So once you take it out on the highway, you want to take it in some city driving, run through the gears, kick it in sport mode, see how the gears react, make sure there's no slippage. Throw it in sport, use the manual gears as long as you're shifting at the right points. And you really want to pay attention to any clunking noises, any misalignment or anything like that, because that's going to be indicative of bad suspension. So the main things you're looking for is that the car is running smoothly, it's not choppy, and that the transmission's shifting well, and the suspension is in solid shape. But yeah, that's what I would check during the test drive, because usually it's pretty brief, it's 10 to 15 minutes, so you really want to get the most out of it. Well guys, that was a quick rundown on how you can stay safe and educated as a buyer and land yourself a very nice BMW, really any car, without the worries of, getting ripped off or anything like that. This BMW E90 is facelifted, is equipped with heated seats, iDrive unit, etc. 100,000 miles on the dashboard. Very, very well maintained. Don't trust anybody out there that says, oh, I have a check engine light for this and that. The car's okay, I just don't have time. But that basically is how you run through one of these BMWs really quickly to make sure you're staying educated and don't get ripped off. If you found this video helpful, go and smash that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can stay in the loop on all the videos to come. As always, thank you all so much for the support. We just doubled on subscribers in less than a year, so I love each and every one of y'all, and I really do mean that. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.